I'm Sarah Fisher, I'm Director of Open Eye Gallery. Really pleased to see you all at the culmination of what has been, well, actually, I have to say, a project that was 10 times the size of the initial project that we talked about. Um, it's grown and grown, but in a very fruitful way, I think. So I've been very pleased to be part of this. So before we start, just a little bit of housekeeping. As I've said, if you could keep yourself on mute, we are recording this. So if you're wanted by the police or anyone that you don't want to see you, I would turn your camera off. Otherwise, please do have your camera on if you can, because it's lovely to see everybody's face whilst we're going through the event. So if you can, keep your camera on. We're going to try and encourage you to use the chat function as much as possible. So if you've got any questions as people are talking, or any comments or anything you'd like to add yourself, please do put it in the chat. We'll endeavour to respond to it as we go along. And also, if you've got any questions for anyone in particular in the group, put those in the chat and they can always respond to you individually. That was a promise I'm hoping we'll be able to keep, that we can respond to you individually. Okay, so we're going to start this evening, but for all of those people who were involved in First Light, so all of the artists, I wonder if you could just raise your hand, give us a little wave. All of you, we've got a question that we want to sort of put to you all, which we'd love you to think about as we go through this evening. So the question is, how did you enjoy your First Light experience? And what will you take from it going forward? So if you see the sneaky little bit at the end, what will you take from it going forward? That will help us shape the next iteration of this. So we'd really love to hear from you if there's anything you think you'll take from it going forward. I'm going to just introduce the two main protagonists for this programme. You'll be familiar with them, many of you. So we've got Laura Robertson, who's going to give us a little wave there as I speak about her. So she's the First Light editor. She's mentored, commissioned and published graduate writers from a diverse range of educational programmes throughout the First Light programme, and the result of which you're going to see tonight. We're incredibly lucky to have Laura with us. She's a bit of a force, this girl, but she's a writer, critic. She's an editor for Anfield Liverpool. She's written critically and creatively about the art for around a decade. She writes for a lot of international magazines, as you'll know, Art Monthly, AN, Frieze, and she's a guest critic on BBC Radio's Front Row. That last one's for all of us oldies that religiously listen to Front Row. Marion Popham, the other, little wave, Mario. So hello. Marion Popham is the First Light curator. He's actually the reason we're all here. It's his fault that we're all here tonight. He's founder of this programme and he coordinated the project and he developed his exhibition. So he's a curator of the exhibition and he worked with all of the participating artists. So all of this work kind of culminated in the exhibition, as you know, in Castle Gallery's new space in Warrington, which he co-curated with Polly. Polly, can you give us a little wave as well while you're here? So just that curatorial team has been magic to work with, actually, completely magic to work with, and everybody from our side of things has said how professional they are. So we've got some real forces behind this programme. Mario, you might already know, he's also the curator at Waterside Trafford. He's a practicing photographer and educator, originally from Japan, and he's been working in and around the Northwest since he graduated in 2007 from Manchester School of Art. So I'm handing over to you guys now. I shall mute myself. Remember the chat function though, guys, do put something in the chat.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah.
I'd just like to say how lovely it is to see well, not all of them, but so many of the First Light participants here tonight. So we're joined by a lot of creative graduates who graduated under lockdown last year from a huge range of courses and art schools and writing programs. So Mario's been predominantly nurturing and platforming photographers, and I've had the pleasure to work with fledgling writers, but even the writers are all from fine art degrees, creative writing. They are photographers themselves, hugely talented, and working really in an interdisciplinary manner, so across loads of different platforms. So this project has been incredibly playful and beautiful to be part of, especially during such a rough year, right, Mario?
Yeah, it's just testament to everyone's collective hard work, really, that we've actually managed to come out of it with a large scale exhibition and this incredible publication, just during such a tough year. So incredibly proud to be to have worked with you all on this, really, and you should all be very, very proud of yourselves for the like really high quality of work consistently throughout. So yes, well done.
Because it was an extra big project to get involved in. I know a lot of people didn't have the graduation shows or presentation or showcases that they wanted to or imagined they'd have. So this was your idea, wasn't it, Mario, to really kind of put forward an alternative showcase?
Yeah, I mean, it's just always amazing work coming out of all of these institutions every year, but the time felt very ripe to actually, launch something like this and actually celebrate the work and nurture students coming out of education, because we know that's it's a tricky period when you're out in the world. In those first 2 years, you really need to have some tenacity to stay in the game, so it's
well, we've been there, we've done that, we know, don't we?
Yeah,
I graduated
absolutely.
from my BA not under a lockdown, but I did graduate from an MA during lockdown last year, so I completely sympathize and relate to the confusion and the fear and everything else that came out of last year if you were a full-time student just trying to finish what you were doing, and also flag up, like bring your work to the attention of the people that mattered, so you get that first job, apprenticeship, internship, placement, commission.
Yeah, exactly. While everything kind of ground to a halt, this was still ongoing throughout. So I really hope it's, given some sense of focus for everybody working on it, and, that kind of sense of momentum and belief, and, to kind of keep making, really. So, yeah, so it's been great for me. I hope it's been great for everyone else. Yeah.
Well, just to explain a bit about the First Light project. So you've basically spearheaded this huge exhibition at Warrington Art Space. It's been on for the last couple of months.
Yeah, so we took it down on Thursday, which was as usual. It's quite surprising how quickly it kind of all comes tumbling down in we all just wrapped it up in a day, but it's amazing because just as that goes down, we have this, so it kind of lives on, and it's always a bit of a melancholy experience, isn't it, taking down exhibitions, because it's just like, there it goes. But it lives on in print form, and also in a virtual exhibition as well, which Natalie has put a lot of hard work into putting together. Is this a good time to show it now?
Yeah, could we have a look at the VR, the virtual reality tour, just really quickly? Because a lot of people, I didn't actually get to see the exhibition because of COVID restrictions. Whoa, we're right in there. It's a huge space, isn't it? So
it is vast.
Is this an old shop?
Yeah, it's an old Marks and Spencer's. So it's it's vast, and we could only use a fraction of it because it is seriously kind of air hanger like vast. So yeah, we managed to coordinate
Lucy off. Just before you whiz past and see
Lucy's work,
Prince's horror photography, haunted house, horror house work there.
So you can click on these certain icons and it'll tell you a bit more about the work, and click on the statements as well. So it's a great thing for all the artists to be able to share, really, with prospective people they work with in the future, put it on your website, etc. So, again, it carries on living. It's fantastic forever, I've been assured.
And there's Alberto's work, who's here tonight.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Looking good,
Beautiful work.
Alberto.
I got to say, I've been there week in, week out, talking to visitors, and yeah, the feedback's just been amazing for all of the work. From, you know, people who wouldn't necessarily go to exhibitions to people who are, you know, photography enthusiasts. You know, just the whole gamut. It's really communicated what you've wanted to say, really, in a lot of cases. And you know, the interpretations of the work have been really interesting. Listen to the visitors come in.
I've just seen that, was it a slide projector as well that Nathan Johnson used for his work?
Yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah.
because he works through archives for that
Yes, it's a
series.
microfilm reader we got in the space.
Yes.
It's really cool.
So fun.
Yeah.
Ah, I wish I was there. But the space, I mean, it's absolutely huge. It needed to be big too. I mean, there were 13 photographers.
Yeah, it really served because we're going to split into 2 shows initially because we've got quite a small space that I usually work in. So it was actually perfect. It worked out in a strange way, like perfectly. Yeah, to be able to have that massive blank canvas. So yeah.
And the way that it worked early days with us, really, just to explain, I was brought in as an editor and mentor, I suppose, for the project. And what we decided to do was produce some kind of new photography criticism to go alongside the exhibition. And our idea at first was to produce a kind of alternative exhibition catalogue, which is this. So affordable, a zine. OpenEye produce an in-house zine called Tilt. So we decided to guest edit this as First Light and really showcase each photographer by pairing them up with a writer. And it was really tough, but we soon found out that there were graduates in this group. All had been nominated by their tutors, by the way. They were all excelling at what they did. They were all making interesting, ambitious work. But we soon found out that they had shared research concerns and interests and backgrounds and things that we knew they'd talk about, and we knew that they'd riff off and enjoy. And we hoped, didn't we, Maria, that some long-lasting relationships would come out of this, certainly professional, in terms of here's someone who can write really well and maybe write about your work again and repeatedly in the future, but also some friendships, some critical friends, because we also knew by pairing up photographers with writers, we kind of create this group crit environment almost. Even though I'm saying all this and it's been so incredibly difficult to do this remotely, but it still has happened, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. This happened in we didn't imagine it happening in this way, but we've still produced, everyone's produced what they kind of imagined they might early on. So it's been a really beautiful thing to see. What have been the most exciting things, do you think, that you've kind of engaged with during the First Light project? What have been the kind of standout experiences?
You know, the best part of curating is just working with artists, really, and helping them to, you know, just kind of realize their vision on the wall. And usually, you know, if you're working with established artists, they'll have a fairly fixed idea about what they want to do, you know, oftentimes. So, you know, to work with young artists or new artists, relatively speaking, is great, because it's, you know, nothing's quite fixed yet. Their vision is still in process, so there's room for experimentation and play. And you know, it equates to harder work a lot of the time, because there's more to do, more to play with, more to try. But then, especially when there's 13 artists, but you know, it's incredibly rewarding for that as well, because yeah, you get to, it's much the same as being an editor, I imagine, or a producer for a musician. You know, you get to actually realize the thing, you know, you're at the kind of service of the artwork in a sense. So yeah, I guess that's been most exciting.
reading is a solitary experience, but actually as an editor, it's you're in constant conversation with writers, which I really like.
Mm.
And this back and forth editorial process has been really brilliant. So all the writers have been very professional to work with, but they've all come with like firm ideas of what they wanted to engage with. Even early on, when they weren't quite sure how to approach this, like the brief was quite challenging, under 500 words, and they could write anything they wanted about the photography in front of them, as long as it was truly reflective of that work. So they could write poetry or more traditional kind of theory, essay style, magazine style work, even short fiction.
Yeah.
So they really took the challenge and they really went for it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the writers had never written arts criticism before, I'll remind everybody. So this is really brand new criticism about photography that's kind of bending the shape of what you might expect criticism to look like. You will laugh through this, you might shed a tear as well. It's very emotional and moving. Some of the texts full of empathy, and some of the texts are very quiet. Some of them are loud and brash and ridiculous and absurd. So they couldn't be more different. But I think they've done an absolutely excellent job of expanding on the image, on doing better or more than the image alone. And that's all I could ask for. So
Definitely.
yeah, it's been really
Yeah,
great.
it's been an incredible experiment, I think. Yeah, seeing what's come out of it. It'll be yeah. And should we talk about a bit about design as well? Like, so Polly was in charge of designing.
Yeah, let's get Polly in just quickly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Polly, for designing this.
No way, it was great. It was great to do, and it's really nice to see it in flesh after seeing it on a screen for so long. But yeah, I think with the design, it was the design throughout. I wanted this continuous line. That was this idea of the continuous line that connects us all, and like graduates, these events and everything together, and like mentors and like you, Laura, Mario, and like OpenEye. So I think it was a lovely way of putting it all together, like visually representation of like connecting new graduates together and amplifying their connections with established people, but also people that are their peers. And I think that's the most important thing, is when you leave university, as a graduate myself, that you sort of leave uni and you feel a bit rattled, but that connection that you have with your peers is really what grounds you and also what allows you to go forward. So I think this continuous line that you can see in the design was also this connection between the photographers and the writers, the text sort of building itself like with like the work. So yeah, I think it was really fun, and I really liked working on it in a more design aspect and taking a step back and having something that sort of wraps it all in one. But yeah, I think
Yeah, it was like it's like you say, it's like a kind of network of things, isn't it? It's like almost like a web.
Yeah, like the web, I think was in like the poster, and it sort of started from the poster, didn't it? And then it went into the design of Instagram things and visual, like the visuals for Instagram and everything else. And the publication was like, oh, I want to have this continuous line going throughout, and like the golden line in a way, and also just yeah, the continuous line that pushes you towards the idea of community and you creating new neighborhoods of yourself and with people around you. That we also forget about that quite a lot, I think. But building those connections for the graduates that have worked on this, I think the best thing you can do is get this contact list, keep this network going, and you know the people around you that are good at things that you might need, or that support network. And it's also coming from people that are established people, but it does come further down the line. Those are the people you'll message or you'll send to support you, I think.
It's a really nice way of thinking about graduation, like these branches that continue to grow and form with other professionals, people much older than you or 10 years down the line, or peer groups also from other universities. And this is something I didn't really have when I graduated from my BA from art school. I knew the people in my year group and some in other year groups on my course, but I never had the opportunity like this to work with multiple universities and other graduates and just get a perspective like that. So I think that's been very important. And just to reach out and say, there are organisations like Waterside and Open Eye and Castlefield and all of these other galleries in the Northwest that are interested in what you're doing. These are faces to the names. Be brave, contact people, pitch your work, showcase what you're doing, talk about what you're doing, because now's the time, isn't it, to kind of grab these opportunities.
Yeah, kind of use that momentum really that we've generated, I think. But also, you know, just enjoy the moment as well. And
also have fun. On that note, should we go to the first reading?
yeah, let's do it.
We're going to have 4 live readings tonight, which I'm really excited about. And the first to take the stage will be Jack Hook. Hi, Jack.
Hello.
Hello. Jack graduated from Liverpool John Moores University, and he was paired up with Leeds Arts graduate Dan Commons, who I think is here tonight. The text is called These Sickly Flowers. I'm going to see Dan's work as Jack reads. So take it away, Jack, in your own time.
In conversation with Dan Commons, we repeatedly return to the word haphazard. It first appears when we talk about his attic. It first appears when we talk about his dark room, built piecemeal in his attic as he first began to explore the world of photography. But the word has a relevance beyond that. It could be used to define both his art and the philosophical foundations underpinning it all. On the surface, Commons' photographic series, These Sickly Flowers, is chaotic. The instinct of the viewer is to look for the connective tissue, the use of angles, the splashes of color, or any contrast between the natural and the urban. The tissue, the meaning, is in all of these things and none of them. Commons references Roland Barthes' The Rhetoric of the Image, a 1964 essay discussing some innate factors such as education and background that make us each interpret an image differently. These Sickly Flowers attempts to move beyond those factors and instead aims for an immediate emotional interpretation. Analytically, I wanted to call this a critique or rejection of Barthes' intricate pro-structuralist ideas. Emotionally, I much prefer Commons' explanation. He refers to it simply as honest. He takes inspiration from Provoke, an art movement that responded to commercialized photography in post-war Japan, rejecting polished imagery with art that reflected the tumultuous nature of life. The movement was built around the simple mantra of Are Bure Bokeh, translation, rough, blurry, or out of focus. In Commons' words, it was about liberating photography as a language. Photography not as a tool to be used and discarded, but as something more intricate than that, rooted in culture and psyche. That liberation can be seen most vividly in some of the blurred, discolored photographs of These Sickly Flowers, a testament to Commons' improvisation in the darkroom. Instead of scrapping a picture when a mistake occurs, he continues working on it, producing unique images, beautiful aberrations. What I get out of photography, he says, is not really about representing anything or taking a position on anything, but I guess the cathartic process. Commons has an eye for the unexpected, his lens having a transformative effect on things that may seem otherwise mundane. It bears similarities to macro photography, honing in on minute details and expanding on them to reveal worlds. The chipped tile becomes a mosaic, the shadow on a window becomes a tableau, the peeling paint becomes a gateway. It's Commons' philosophy in action, stripping any and all context away so that the viewer has no choice but to provide their own. Like the inkblots of a Rorschach test, who you are determines what you see. When asked about his process, how he finds and captures these moments in time, Commons responds with a succinct quote from Isherwood's Goodbye to Berlin. I am a camera, not planning, just shooting on instinct. Which brings us back to haphazard. It's a divisive word, not often a compliment, yet it evokes a certain appealing looseness, a willingness to improvise or to take life as it comes. Embrace the chaotic, and through doing so, learn something about yourself. If photography is a language, These Sickly Flowers is overheard conversations. You may never know what happened before or what came after, and it doesn't matter. The moment belongs to you.
Well done, Jack. Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
was beautiful. And if you want to read along, our next reading is on page 14. From Leeds Arts University graduate Raphael Dada. Hiya.
Hey, everyone.
Hi,
Hey,
Raphael. Entitled Like the Work, Daytime Disability. And that series was produced by University of Cumbria graduate Jordan Mossam, who's also here tonight, I see. Hi, Jordan. So just in your own time, Raphael, take it away.
Daytime disability. Jordan Mosman's series of self-portraits, Daytime Disability, depicts his day-to-day routine. His camera travels with him around the house, from his bedroom where he is assisted with taking his morning medicine to his bathroom where he's pictured in monochrome washing his hands in the sink. Throughout the series, the artist and photographer challenges our perceptions of what inconvenience is as he explores themes of dependency and autonomy. For Mossam is the subject of his work as well as the author. He understands acutely what it's like to experience inconvenience through Duchenne muscular dystrophy, DMD. He lives with this rare muscular condition that affects approximately 1 in 3,000 men. Working in black and white, Mossam brings his subject matter himself into stark relief, giving an insight into what daily life with DMD is, by taking us inside the house. Otherwise, unseen moments of his life with this rare condition are portrayed. He deepens a public understanding of living with this physical disability whilst remaining in control of his own story. Washing, using the computer, and getting ready. Mundane tasks that we all have to do become drawn out affairs as the artist relies on medical equipment and several support staff to maintain his independence and quality of life. In Top of Air, Mossam shows us how he uses a coffin assister, and we vicariously experience a COVID-19 quarantine that many of us can never imagine. Mossam's photographs force us, the viewer, to come face to face with our own perceived challenges. They highlight how society views those with disabilities. What others may see as barriers, he sees as opportunities to take back control over the narrative, over the image. Daytime Disability illustrates how the personal is political by addressing stigma surrounding DMD. It's the duality of barriers / opportunities of subject / author that makes this graduation series such a strong body of work. Daytime Disability balances its power and vulnerability as an artist while confronting us with a side of disability that usually kept behind closed doors. He chooses to document his life for us to see, training his lens on himself, and by doing so allows us another perspective. Mossam's honesty and his commitment to the documentary genre bring a valuable and otherwise silent voice to photography.
Thank you, Raphael.
Lovely, thanks,
Good
Raphael.
job. I'd like to invite Raphael now and Jasmine, two of the writers involved in the First Light project, and David Ketley and Jessie Kerr, if they'd like to just have a quick chat with us actually about the project. I'll start with you, Raphael, because you're still in the performance mode. But it'd be really nice just to hear directly from you, like how you found the project and what you've learned from it, and maybe what you kind of take forward, because I know you're right in the middle of an MA now at Goldsmiths.
Yeah, it's a very interesting project because when I got the email first, I was like, I've never written like this before in my life. Like photography as well. Like I just graduated from a fine art course. I said like, where do I stand in this world of photography? Like, when I was having one of my main discussions with Laura, I was like, it was a bit of like imposter syndrome. I'm like, I'm a fine artist. I make screen prints. Like, I've never dabbled in photography like that. But then being able to work with Laura and the amazing firm First Light team, I was just like, it allowed me an ease, a confidence to understand what it means to write and talk about someone's work so creatively. And working with Jordan has been amazing because we come from two very different backgrounds, but we're able to find a similarity and like a passion for expressing our own personal experiences. As me being a Black artist and Jordan living how he lives, like we're able to find a way to tell both our narratives through this shared project, and it's been amazing.
You have no reason to be lacking in confidence, Raphael. Like, it still surprises me when you said that, but when you say that, but I do understand where that comes from. But you're actually a really accomplished poet as well, so I think it's been very encouraging and positive and fruitful to see you apply your poet's voice to the task of arts criticism and see where the crossover is with that. I wonder, like, if you could just kind of expand on what that has felt like to explore your voice in criticism and more kind of traditional creative writing.
Because the thing with poetry, I see poetry or any form of expression as telling stories. And like when I was writing with Jordan, I wanted to tell his story. I wanted to put myself as best as I possibly could into his shoes. I saw it as being able to, it's like taking a different persona. So through Jordan's photographs, his amazing series, I was able to spend a day in his life, so to say, and then from there I could try and use his voice to find mine in the poetry. And then from that, I just saw it as like how I see rap as another form of poetry. I saw this art criticism as another form of rap / poetry, and expressing a view, telling a story, and giving back so everyone can see the hard work Jordan has put into this amazing series.
I think you're so right, and I see so much crossover within different forms of writing. And for me, good arts criticism is good writing, is good storytelling. If nobody wants to read it, what's the point of writing it? Right? And this is all about storytelling, and for me, telling different stories in different ways, and maybe even not directly about the image, but around or to the side, of an image sometimes, and that delicate kind of touch. I think you achieved that, and it was you've really pushed yourself, I think, with the writing, and your voice has come through a lot, and I'm excited to see how you push yourself with your written voice even further and kind of mash up disciplines even more. And I think that's a good point to bring Jasmine in, because Jasmine's also a poet, and maybe would I identify more as a poet because that's maybe what you're writing more of at the moment, full time. Yeah. So how did you find the First Light experience?
Similar to Raphael, I've never really written in this mode or in this way before, so approaching it was a bit of a challenge. I think the biggest thing for me is when I write poetry, it's such a personal experience, and it's such a sort of introverted experience at first, that thinking about the audience is something that comes way after the poem's actually been written. Whereas with this, thinking about the audience and having the audience there as sort of a secondary outsider was sort of integral to me writing it and making it sort of I guess available and accessible to other people. So for me, I guess that was what I've learned the most from writing in this way, learning how to consider audience and people who might read this text go into the exhibition, and then linking it back to what Zanita was wanting to portray from my discussions with her.
Whose image is behind you now. Thanks for doing that. It's really helpful. And we're going to hear from Jasmine a bit later as well. Read her work. Thank you. I'll pass back to Mario now so you can talk to David and Jessie.
Yes, Jessie, are you out there? If you're going to unmute
I'm here.
yourself.
Yeah.
Hi, Jessie. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, good. Nice to see you. So yeah, how did you find the experience?
I'm one of them people. I was really nervous at first, just because I've never had my work on like an exhibition. I've never seen my work on a wall. I've always kind of kept it secluded to myself. So when I got the email from my tutor and he sort of said, "Oh, we put your name forward," I was just like, I kind of wanted to stay out. But then like when he put my name forward, I was like, okay, maybe this is like the universe sort of telling me like, you need to go forward now. You can't keep your work to yourself. So I'm really happy that just so many people was sort of messaging me about the First Light, how they've gone and seen everybody's work and they loved it. And
amazing.
Just how all different people were kind of like really drawn to one portrait.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really expect a lot of people to sort of message me and be like, "Oh, we like this portrait of the young girl, my cousin, or one of the ladies in the middle." So I think it's kind of given me a lot of confidence in myself, I'd say. Just believe in what you love and just run with it. Because before I'd just be really secluded and I wouldn't really show anybody my work. As artists, we don't like criticism. to an extent. So I was really scared, but I feel like this has given me confidence in framing my work in how I want to display my work. Because normally I would I wouldn't think about anything, but now I really realize that when it's on a wall, just as much as the picture, like the framing, the space, even just like when you painted the wall, like it means so much to the artist itself. And I think that's one thing I've learned. It's really just helped me put it together now. So I'm looking forward just to the future now.
Good. I mean, it's amazing when you put your work out there, what can happen, in terms of it, and in terms of how people respond to it. And yeah, being at the exhibition spaces, people, just the incredible colors of your sitters and how you've captured them, that kind of serenity. People are really drawn to it. So no, it's been fantastic. And yeah, it's been, a very noted writer picked up on your work as well, I believe. Frances Hodgson wrote a really beautiful piece on Instagram about your work, a really considered kind of piece about what it means for, in terms of representing modern Britain. It's excellent, I thought, and really insightful. So yeah, you should feel confident, absolutely. That's that's kind of validating thing, really. So yeah, thank you, Jessie.
Thank you
for being involved. So yeah, and David, you out there?
Oh yeah, I'm out here.
Hi, David, you're out there in the cosmos.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So yeah, how have you found it, the whole experience?
It's been incredible, really. I just want to say just how much of an honor this opportunity has been, really. And it's been, I think, I relate quite a lot to what Jessie was just saying then about when I first got that email, like that I've been accepted on this. My initial reaction was to kind of maybe not back out, but I was, oh God, it's actually happening. And then it's just been quite a personal growth experience as well, I think. Especially with doing the talk as well, because that was way outside my comfort zone. But I'm really glad that I just kind of said, let's do it, and just get myself out there and talking about my work. It was really just such a good learning experience.
Yeah, in so many ways. I mean, that's such a big part of being an artist, being able to defend your work, justify your work, talk about your work, and express what it's doing. So yeah, so glad you kind of stepped up to that, really. And how was it seeing the exhibition in the space? Was it, finally, because you've been working on this for a while, right?
Yeah, well, it was just it's kind of surreal in a way, just having it obviously from looking at it on a screen for so long, and obviously discussing the kind of display methods with you, and then just seeing it there in person. It was just it was really fun, and it was just really satisfying. Not end, because obviously it hasn't ended. But yeah, it was really satisfying, I guess. And I think that's that comes into one of the main takeaways that I think I'm gonna take from this whole experience is learning that these exhibitions it's a collaboration, with the curator. Because I've done an exhibition in uni before, but learning to that discussion with you about how we're going to display it, and just that back and forth, I think was really it was a really good experience, and I'm going to take that away with me.
Oh, excellent. Great. Yeah, it's incredibly enjoyable, I think, especially when it comes off like that. And it's, I had the same feeling, just like, oh, wow, it worked, it's so yeah, well done, David. It looks fantastic. So yeah, just keep going with it, definitely.
Can't underestimate, can you, what it feels like to be published for the first time or exhibited for the first time outside a university. I think most of the people here tonight will remember the first time that happened to them, or to be commissioned in some way. It's a huge moment. And I wasn't published for many years after I graduated. I hadn't the confidence or the contacts or the wherewithal, really. I didn't really know even where to start. So that's been really important to me, to kind of demystify the publishing process, everything about it, pitching, being commissioned, fees, who to approach, how to find people, all of that stuff. And it's the same with you know, being curated under your guardianship, Mario. That experience is formative, and we can't underestimate that. So it's been really good to hear directly from you guys, though, about the experience, and I'm glad it was fun. Not too stressful. They could have all dropped out. This is the first I've heard. Anyway, I think it's time for our third reading from Robin Fanner, who's here with us still. Yes, hi, Robin. Hiya.
Hi.
So Robin's reading is on page 18 for those of you who want to read along. Robin graduated from UCLan from Fine Art, and he went straight onto the master's program there. The text is called It's an Ill Wind, and it reflects on the work of Blackpool School of Arts graduate Sam Wallace. Take it away, Robin.
Thank you. Another late autumnal cyclone had battered Blackpool's sea defences, leaving quivering puddles like inland seas across the prom. Flotsam aggregated in wind-resistant hiding places, and the receding tide had deposited yet more rubbish on the shoreline. Sam Wallace welcomed these storms, since that debris was bounty that he was anxious to plunder. There was something about the battered nature of sea-borne artifacts that told a tale. Unraveling that tale required forensic examination, a macroscopic reading of their journeys to the North Shore. As he kicked and raked over the sands, something told him that the day's haul would be in some way valuable, although the first few finds belied that optimism. A disintegrating stress ball, its cellular integrity having lost an uneven fight against the elements. A debristled toothbrush, its handle wrapped with seaweed, Norimaki style. Yet another toy car, bodywork only, the wheels and fittings stripped by marine scrap merchants. Then, a flash of unnatural yellow in the sand, a Pantone familiar from somewhere at some time. Sam brushed the grains away, revealing the face of a Lisa Simpson Lego figure. Now, here was something different. Digging the plaything out, he considered its state. The familiar spiked hairstyle had softened, abraded by shifting sands and chance collisions. Sharp edges on torso, limbs, and feet, so characteristic of Lego, had likewise worn smooth. Like everything that he carted home to photograph, Lisa was battered and incomplete, but she was also a keeper. Back at Sam's studio, he trained his camera lens on his new acquaintance. Pleased with the images, a large print of Lisa soon occupied wall space. A friendly companion as he busily made more images of found items. Sand-crusted, Lisa oversaw Sam's routine for a while until she could bear it no longer. "Sam," she yelled out. "Sam, what are you doing? You're not getting it, are you? All you're seeing is what's left behind. Where are the lost parts? Where is my hair, my edges, my markings? That's the point. Not what's here now, but what has vanished." Taken aback, Sam suddenly felt the need for fresh air. As he shouted in vain against the inevitable downpour, drips of rainwater crept into the corners of his mouth. He spat. This wasn't just water. This was a toxic brew. This was an unsolvable solution of man's technological hubris, granulated into billions of untraceable fragments, dispersed to who knows where, integrated with who knows what. Humans, certainly. Animals, of course. Vegetables, why not? Minerals, undoubtedly. Returning to his studio, Sam confronted Lisa. "Okay, I get it," he said. "It's about where the missing plastic goes, about where it can end up. This apple, these cherries, they're all contaminated, right?" "Correct," replied Lisa. "Our Trash of the Titans episode is about exactly that issue, the consequences of mismanaging waste. You should watch it." "Okay," so the comedy's a bit, well, meh, but you can't fault the message. Sam selected a frayed crimson hexagon from his collection. The merest trace remained of one of its original printed 3 lions, but he knew what it used to be and imagined where the rest had gone. On his laptop, he clicked File, New Image, and started to draw. Thank you.
Lovely, Robin, thank you. It's quite difficult to listen to because it's so harrowing, like the effect on the environment that Sam's work is highlighting. Thank you. And our 4th and final reading tonight is from Jasmine, who you've just met, and it's on page 50 if you want to read along. And Jasmine graduated from Edge Hill University. Her text reflects on the images of University of Bolton graduate Zanita Sanova. Take it away, Jasmine, in your own time.
Bear. As I sit and look at Zanita Sanova's photographs, I think of all the disruption surrounding me. Somewhere, my phone buzzes, social media alerts, messages from family and friends. I look at her work on my laptop, which is alive with constant notifications and tailored advertisements. Despite being in lockdown, the busyness remains inescapable. Sanova is a university student and photographer living in Manchester. She has loved fashion photography since childhood and names Vogue and Mario Testoni as her major influences. We speak over Zoom via a BSL interpreter. It is a Sunday morning and we are both relaxed, wearing comfortable clothes. I look through her work whilst wearing leggings and an old jumper. My hair is slapped back and overdue a wash. I am not wearing makeup. I imagine myself leaving the house looking as I do now. I wonder how it would feel to be seen by a stranger or a friend, whether my appearance would evoke a reaction. The thought makes bubbles of anxiety start to tighten in my chest. Is it really that hard to be out in the world barefaced, to be exactly as you are? The answer for me, shamefully, is yes. Sanova's work remains untitled because that is deaf culture. A word is not necessary when an image will do. She talks to me about the world's current state, names it a time of mental health trauma. She speaks about her desire to reject the abstract. She wants a world that embraces women for their true skin. Her sitters look on from a place of calm, of consideration. More than once, I catch myself staring. They stare back, unconcerned. With the white background, bathrobe, and towel concealing their hair, Sanova is forcing us to be onlookers. We can see them in their true skin. Where fashion photography is about flaunting trends, hers is about flaunting yourself. It is a showcase of self-love and defiance. The artist explains the intimacy of the photo shoot, of locked doors and a plain room, the act of lingering in a moment with another person, capturing them exactly as they are. There is no hiding for these women, or for me, as they stare into my face as I watch them. Their confidence feels like provocation. I feel dared to be seen, to be natural, to be exactly as I am. I asked Sanova, if people could take one thing away from her work, what would she like it to be? I would want them to feel more confident within themselves, you know? Looking at her work, I feel an urge to disconnect myself from a world whose incessant demand for perfection comes with the cost of self-confidence. Untitled has offered me a way to see what life is like when you reject the shame of being bare. For the first time, I want to imagine myself in the world barefaced. I want to feel the power of being seen for exactly what and exactly who I am.
Thank you. That was brilliant, Jasmine. Thanks a lot.
Excellent. Thanks, Jasmine.
Right, now to an exciting, surprising element of the evening, just to finish everything off. Prize giving. Woo! So we've got some prizes to give out. We wish we could give everybody prizes, but there are a couple of people who stood out for various reasons. So Mario, do you want to take it away with the first prize?
Sure, I'm gonna pass over to Hazel now, who's joined us. Hazel, are you out there?
Hello.
Hi, this is
Hi.
Hazel, everyone, from Spectrum Photographic, who has very generously donated a prize to the project. And Hazel will be selecting Spectrum's favourite photographer in show. So take it away, Hazel.
Hi everybody. So when I'm asked to look through work, I'll always go home and look through, because I know it's so personal to go through people's work. So I'll always set aside a few hours to properly have a look through the images and the statements. And so I went through everything, and I said to Mary, I found it really hard to make a selection. And I actually went back to the work on three occasions to go back through everything, through all the images and read through all the statements again, because the work is so strong. But I have made a decision, and I have decided on Alberto Gonzalez as the winner. As soon as I saw the work, I kind of saw the inspiration of surrealist photographers. So one of my favorite kind of genres of photography, so Man Ray, Lee Miller. And I thought the work was beautifully presented as well in the frames with the window mounts and a really, really strong selection of work. So Alberto is the winner. And Alberto, you'll win, I've just written it down, 20 C-type prints. So photographic prints at 12 by 10, a talk with one of our master printers. So our master printers work with various photographers, galleries, museums, and producing exhibitions. So you'll be able to have a phone conversation with one of them. And then we'll do an interview for our blog and a newsletter. So you'll go in our newsletter to our network, and then an Instagram takeover with Spectrum later in the year. Yeah.
Excellent. Very worthy winner. Well done, Alberto.
Thank you so much.
That's fantastic. So yeah, at the moment you're working on your masters, am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's great. So you're producing work at the moment, aren't you? I've kept up to date with your latest kind of creations on Instagram. So it's fantastic opportunity for you to get it, get it out in the world as a physical print. And hope you make the most of the time with the master printer. I think it'd be great. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Okay, so and the next prize. Thank you so much, Hazel. That's fantastic.
Thank you, Hazel.
Thank you.
So the next prize is the First Light Photography Prize, which will involve an exhibition opportunity on the digital window display at OpenEye Gallery. So yes, we've chosen for this prize Jessie Cower. Jessie, are you out there?
She's fallen off her chair.
I'm here.
You still out there, Jessie?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. So you're also still making work, aren't you?
Yeah.
Think of it.
I've done, this was like women, all Sikh women, but now I've kind of gone into my family, so the women in my family.
Excellent.
So
okay.
I'll be probably bringing another series out, just attaching from that one, which is my family. So
all right. So yeah, I'll be working with you just to develop the work ready for OpenEye at a later date. So we keep talking about that, and so we'll pick up the discussion soon. Okay. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done, Jessie. Woo! And we should say there will be some more prizes announced at a later date, so watch the space. But the final prize tonight, we wanted to come up with an inaugural First Light writing prize, of course, because it's the celebration of the zine tonight, as well as the closing party. So the winner of this prize it's kind of a joint prize between the Double Negative, which is my online arts and culture magazine that I run with Mike Pinnington, and OpenEye Gallery. And we'll commission a paid commission to to this recipient, who will write something and have it edited and published alongside me. So we'll go through some further professional development with me and mentoring. And they'll be writing a text about the current exhibition at Open Eye Gallery. And the winner is Jasmine Gray. Well done, Jasmine. We were really impressed by Jasmine's imaginative and sensitive response to Zanita's images, but also her professionalism throughout the First Light project. So just to explain, Jasmine had really firm ideas of how the text should be formatted, and it's borrowing a lot from visual elements of poetry in the final published version in the zine that you can see. And she had really firm ideas of how she wanted to grow and shape her voice and how her voice should come through in the text. And we were really impressed. So well done, Jasmine.
Thank you.
We look forward to working with you again soon.
Well done, Jasmine. It's a beautiful piece.
Thank you.
We'll hand over to Sarah now. Thank you, Sarah, for guiding us tonight.
Thanks, Sarah.
And
Well,
keeping an
thanks
eye on
for all of
the
you.
chat box.
Yeah. We basically couldn't have done this on our own. Open Eye would never have done this. I think it's a really, really collaborative project. And I think what's impressed me most actually is the way that all of the participants in the project have kind of really grasped the idea of working with another creative. And actually photography and writing goes so well together, whether it's creative writing that sits alongside photography or critical writing that sits alongside photography. I think there's a huge future in thinking about, for all of the I'm talking to the photographers now, but for the writers also, thinking about how you might collaborate in future. I can't get over the quality of the work. So although there has been a few prizes, I would say across the board, the quality of the work has been really amazing. And I think you all need to be incredibly proud of what you've done. I was very impressed with the talks. The talk series is now online, so I'm hoping that you'll share the talk series with everyone. I'm very impressed with the talks, incredibly impressed with the exhibition. And this, don't tell anybody, but this is one of my favorite tilts ever. You mustn't tell everybody because obviously there's a lot of tilts and they are all beautiful and fantastic in their own right. But I would say, you know, the kind of collaboration and the way in which this work, you can tell when stuff's good, when you actually stand in front of it and you as a viewer feel in a really privileged position. You feel that you're given some insight into a world that perhaps you're familiar with, but it's shown to you slightly differently, or perhaps you have no familiarity with, and so it's revealing new truth. So I just want to say to all of you, you're all winners because you've all made this amazing program happen. I do have a rather long list, though, of people who've also made it happen by providing a bit of dosh or a bit of support or whatever. So I'm going to just thank all of the following people. So I want to thank the zine sponsors. Particular people and particular universities made the zine possible. So Brendan Fletcher from the Salford School of Arts, University of Salford, Zoe Watson, Manchester School of Art, MMU, Amelia Crouch, Leeds Arts University, Professor John McAuliffe, Centre for New Writing, University of Manchester, Billy Cowan, Department of English, History and Creative Writing, Edge Hill University, Elaine Spate from In Certain Places, and Victoria Lucas and Andrew Brodley, School of Arts and Media at UCLan, Professor Rachel McLean and Paula Baines, Liverpool Screen School at LGMU. The exhibition sponsors, of course, Village, Joe Tor from Village Books. Village are incredibly supportive and you know, have been major movers really in developing photography. in the north for certain, but more widely nationally. So thanks very much to Village. And of course, thank you to Hazel from Spectrum Photographic. I don't think anyone in the photography business would know what to do, frankly, without Spectrum. We do end up calling on them quite a lot. And there's quite a number of individuals that have also helped with the exhibition and the project as a whole, particularly Thomas Dukes, Megan Jenkins, Rachel Burns, Peter Popham, all of the Open Eye staff, Zoe Murphy, thank you so much. Most of all, though, I want you to kind of think about this project and this program as a start. It's the start of something great where you kind of learn to collaborate and you learn how to do things. And actually, you don't need us. Obviously, I want you to need us, but you don't need the photography galleries. You can club together and work together and put things on collectively. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. And particularly for the photographers, please do think about the value of working with writers, because I think it's an incredible collaboration, and it can be something that will stay with you for the rest of your life. If you can develop relationships with writers, you can keep those going and can completely inform and support your work for the rest of your life. Obviously, the last thank you goes to Laura, Mario, Polly, and the other people who directly made all of this happen. So thank you so much to you guys. Can I ask you all to share the VR and share the tilt, send it out, tell all of your friends and relations about it, because I think I'm really proud of what's happened. We didn't know what we were doing when we started. It's grown very organically. And I think what we've ended up with is a really powerful program of work, showcasing some really great talent. So please do share with everybody you know. That's it really for the...
Here. Thank you, Sarah, as well.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, everyone. Give yourselves a massive pat on the back.
Yeah. Done incredibly. Well done.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for joining us tonight. Keep in touch. We want to know what you're doing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everybody.